Supposed to welcome everyone. And approval of minutes, introductions and approval of minutes. I'm going by the agenda, which I'm looking at. It's right there in front of me. Okay. So welcome everyone. I believe we have one guest today, Miss Tiffany Cowell. If you want to take a few minutes to briefly introduce yourself, we're glad to have you. And then when you're done, you can come back. You're welcome to stay for the entire meeting. Can we unmute Ms. Cowell?
You're on mute, Ms. Cowell.
There we go. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tiffany Cowell, and I'm the Youth Opportunities Coordinator for the City of Virginia Beach. And our Youth Opportunities Office runs several programs, and one of our program coordinators, Nikki Vasquez, is going to be on with you today to discuss some of the programs that we're running out of the Youth Opportunities Office. There are a lot of exciting opportunities for our young people, opportunities for financial advancement, and as well as just some social and scholastic achievement, and advancement. So we're really excited to be able to share that with you today. And Nikki will go into more depth about some of the offerings that we have.
Excellent. Thank you so much and welcome. Now we need to take a roll call. Ms. Laviera?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Hopper is on the line, so we're going to see if we can unmute him. But I will start with the roll call and just say here or present. Kelvin Arthur.
Here.
Arshad Barat. Francina Harrison.
Here.
Thank you. Ron Lewis.
Here.
Clarence Neely. Francis Thompson.
Present.
Olga Torres.
Present.
Damon Watson.
Present, hopefully send it.
I heard you that time, thank you. Sheila Johnson. Chiquita Clark. I see you, I see your lips moving, but I can't hear you. We see you. Rod, is that okay if I can't hear her? I can see her. Ed Hopper?
Here.
Thank you. You do have a quorum, Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Laviera. Okay. We have a quorum. The next thing is to review the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? And if there are any questions or comments, discussion, I would like to have a move from the floor for someone to move to present it. If no questions or discussion.
I move to accept the minutes.
Thank you.
Second.
Mr. Thank you. Any comments? No discussion, right? So it's been moved and seconded that the minutes are to be approved as presented. And these are the minutes from the meeting in November. And the minutes are to be accepted as presented. Thank you. All right, without further ado, I don't think anything else there is to be done except move on to our industry hour guest, Ms. Nikki Vasquez, and we heard a little bit about it from our guest, Ms. Cowell. And let's see, Youth Opportunities Office, Parks and Recreation, City of Virginia Beach. I think Nikita's helping with that, right?
Correct. She is having a few technical difficulties there. And apparently, I think Mr. Ingram is having some technical difficulties issues as well.
Can y'all hear me? Hopefully you can hear me now.
Yes, we can.
Okay, very good. For prior virtual meetings, I've been participating from home when I've been working from home, but today I'm at my government-issued computer, so there's no camera, there's no microphone. I'm calling in on a landline telephone, and I apologize that it took me a little while to figure this out. But what I said, and nobody heard, was, Lavera, it's fine. If you've got a visual wave and you know she's present, we don't need to hear her say the words.
Thank you. And with the approval of minutes, Madam Vice Chair, I do need to go through and call each individual's name. So we'll go back through and I'll call everyone's name for the approval of minutes.
Thank you.
Kelvin Arthur,
Approve.
Rashad Barat, Francina Harrison,
Approved.
Ed Hopper,
Approved.
Ron Lewis, Ron Lewis. I will come back to you, Mr. Lewis, because we cannot hear you. Clarence Neely, Francis Thompson,
Approved.
Olga Torres,
Approve.
Damon Watson,
Approved.
Sheila Johnson, Jaquita Clark.
Approved. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. And Ron Lewis. Okay, we cannot hear Mr. Lewis, but it did pass with everyone with those approvals that you do have, Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you so much. The minutes have been approved, and now we can continue and move on to our industry hour. Are we ready?
Nikita is muted.
I'm wondering if we need to wait, maybe we can move on to going over some of the committee reports.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, why don't we proceed with that, and then let us know, Ms. Lavera, when our industry hour speaker is ready. So,
Okay.
yes, so let's continue then with the agenda. Outreach Committee, Mr. Damon, we're looking forward to hearing what you got to share with us.
Hello, hello, hello. First of all, let me just welcome everybody back. Mr. Faces, glad I can see you, even though it's just virtual, but definitely great to see everybody. Still in the midst of trying to figure out the best way to do our expose postponement. The greatest thing about it is the fact that it is virtual. We can add more speakers, so I have reached out to people to see what their schedule might be like for the next upcoming months to see who might want to narrow down. Of course, with the shifting of the presidency and the shifting of Senate and all these things we have just adjusting and moving, a lot of people are still concerned with COVID and, you know, what's going to happen now that the government has so much change power. So I think that's one topic we might be able to hit on to help business owners. So I'm just right now putting out fillers. I will start having more outreach meetings now that the new year has commenced to get the opinion of anybody that wants to add anything to it. But as of now, we're just trying to put out the fillers and see what COVID is going to take us, what the new year is going to take us to, and what the political change in party is going to take us to, and base it off of those situations.
Thank you, Mr. Damon, for your moving right along on the agenda. Minority Awareness Committee, Ms. Thompson.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Everything is what Damon said. It's just such a pleasure to see you guys. We miss our monthly meetings, but here we are. Put it down. I want to just say something quick, Damon. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I have my sister works for the Federal Reserve Bank, and she sent me a link that says the PPP program is going to open back up next week, and nonprofits are included. She sent me the website from the SBA that says the Treasury and the SBA announced the PPP program is reopening with new new guidance. So I think I'm going to put that in the email to everybody, so you can just kind of review it and look at it and, you know, do what you need to do with it. So thought I'd share that.
Great point.
Minority Business Awareness Committee report is in your packet, I hope, and I'm just going to go over it hopefully very briefly. We met on Tuesday. We meet 3 o'clock on the Tuesday before the meetings, and we do it virtually by Zoom, and that has really helped us to have our attendance and people are able to, you know, get away and be a part of the meetings. The first thing is that when we look at our social media presence, all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, we seem to be maintaining our social media presence. And Jaquita and Hannah Francis, who is our junior associate, kind of manage and maintain that. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more later. Still want to encourage you, if you are on social media at all, that you will seek out the Minority Business Council, follow, like, share, invite to like the page so that we can get more exposure to the community about the things that we are doing. So the strategies for this month, as we met this month, we talked about trying to engage deeper with our social media connections and the general public. So we talked about our quarterly newsletter, and even though we don't have any events, Keith was still willing to publish one as soon as possible, and then we'll send that out via email and post on social media as we can. We want to get information to, information to the public about procurement procedures and other resources for businesses, just to make sure that they stay up on the kinds of things that they need. We also talked about the need for posting more often. We know that the more often you post, the more the algorithms seem to get your stuff out there, you know, so we need to post more often. We'll talk about it. There is a goal for the MAC committee to post regularly on all of our social media platforms so that we can increase awareness of the resources and services that are offered to small businesses. So we're going to try to post more frequently. We discussed the possibility of collaborating with Outreach to talk about a virtual expo event. And so we're going to bring that before the executive committee, and hopefully they will consider us doing something so that we don't go any longer without doing something with the business community in the city and in the region. And we also, one of our goals, which was goal number 4, is to promote cultural awareness and appreciation within the business community. And so we're trying to come up with meaningful ways to accomplish this goal. One of the things that we said that we'd like to do is to use this constant contact program to post cultural recognition messages on our social media platforms throughout the year for various culture awareness and recognition month, you know, and activities. So our junior associate, Hannah Francis, is kind of researching to make sure, and it's so hard because, you know, they're diversity events, but then they're cultural events, and we want to try to make sure that we hit the right group of people that we want to recognize and acknowledge. So that was all we talked about over during our meeting, and I submitted my report, and I thank, of course, as always, the staff, Lavera and Keith and Nikita, for all that they do to help us to stay on track. So I think that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, real quick, would it be possible for me to be granted administrative access to our social medias? I have editor access, so I can't link the Facebook and Instagram together, and I can't do a lot of the back end stuff that would be boosting our algorithm because I only have editor access still. So
yeah, you know, Jaquita, we talked about this. Francina came into the meeting and we talked about how we do need to do that, you know, because when one person is the administrator, if that person cycles off the Minority Business Council, you know, it kind of leaves us an alert. So we do need to add another administrator. We'll get all that straight at the executive committee meeting because it'll have to go through Rod Ingram to make sure that, you know, all things were approved, do it in the right way. But that is one of the things that we had considered, that we do need to make sure that if you're going to be, you know, posting for the social media, you certainly ought to have access, full access to it. So out, and we'll make sure that it gets done. Any more questions or comments or anything? They asked me to announce this, but Dr. Parrott is on the call. Do you still want me to announce about the meeting, the event on the 1st, Lavere, or you want to leave? We'll leave that to Dr. Parrott.
Dr. Parrish, she is going to join. She has a section at the bottom of the agenda. If she does not come on at that point, then you can do it if you don't mind.
Okay. All right. That sounds great. All right. Well, that's the end of my report, and thank you to everybody who was listening. Oh, there it is. There it is. Is that the one from this month? Are we good?
Thank you, Ms. Francis.
Sure.
It looks like we're getting ready to have more visibility on our social media. We're excited about that and can't wait to get started. For example, that PPP announcement that's coming up, that would be something excellent for us to share with the community. So that would be a great way to kick off our reactivated activity. So thank you again. We are ready to—
I have one question, if I can share. I'm sorry, I got two things going on. Francine here, and I know, and my apologies, I don't want to be out of order, but I know, Francis, when we had our meeting, something else that I'd like for us to share, and I guess maybe it's for the meeting, but I got one of those phishing SWAM certification emails that almost I clicked to do something that would have destroyed something that I'm glad I didn't click. So I'm hoping maybe with awareness, in addition to the PPE and all that, we might want to let some of these SWAM businesses know that agency, I'm not sure who's doing their cybersecurity, but those emails are so authentic looking until you look at a misspelled word. And if they click to do the one I got said, you have to redo this and send your tax information so you can keep your micro certification. It was so, the logo was perfect. It's just they misspelled a word and I didn't click, and I'm pretty cool at those things. At least I thought I was, but they're getting really sophisticated. So I think part of the awareness of I could forward one of the spam ones I got, and then the agency comes back 2 hours later and says that was a phishing attempt. But in 2 hours, a lot of folks could have thought that was real and clicked it. So if we can also make sure in our awareness that we're sending stuff, and this is just from our own agents, our own, the SBDC, whatever it is, so we can keep our folks from clicking on that stuff and really getting themselves in a terrible way in terms of their SWAM. So just wanted to put that out.
Yes, thank you, Francina, for that contribution. You're right, and another opportunity for us to share and bring awareness to the business community, especially. Well, it looks like we are done with the report for now. So now we are going to get back onto the agenda, and it looks like our industry hour guest, Nikki Vasquez, is ready.
Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me?
We can hear. Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Sorry for all the issues with the technology. Well, good afternoon, and thank you to the Council for allowing me the opportunity to share our programs for young people. The Youth Opportunities Office was established in May of 1998 under the Department of Parks and Recreation. It was through a collaborative effort of the City of Virginia Beach and the Virginia Beach City Public Schools. The Youth Opportunities Office strives to promote positive youth development for all Virginia Beach youth birth through 21 years of age through collaboration and partnerships, education and training, awareness, youth civic engagement, and community involvement and investment. As a member of this great team, I oversee 3 programs: the Mayor's Youth Leaders in Action, Summer Youth Employment Program, and the Teen Media Studio. This afternoon, I'd like to focus on the Summer Youth Employment Program, or as we call it, SYEP. SYEP is administered by the Department of Parks and Recreation under the Youth Opportunities Office. The Summer Youth Employment Program was established in 2009. It is an 8-week program that provides Virginia Beach youth between the ages of 16 to 21 with the opportunity to develop skills, set career goals, earn money, and become financially empowered by placing them in meaningful summer jobs. Some of the elements of the Summer Youth Employment Program is the young people have to complete an application just like you and I would through the city and follow the city process. That's where they truly start understanding the real world of employment. They get an interview, normally about a 30-minute interview. It's to get to know the young person a little bit better, as well as to find out more about their interests. They participate in a 15-hour orientation and work readiness skills training. We focus on professional development, soft skills, and absolutely financial literacy. We also do a event called Reality Store. This is an opportunity for our young people to experience what it's like to be a young adult and the challenges it takes when you have to make ends meet on a monthly basis. Young people are placed in city, private, and not-for-profit organizations. The placement is determined by our staff that best fits the young person's interests, but also we take into account the following criteria: the application information, the interview, transportation availability, got to make sure that young person can get to the job, recommendation letters, the company and agency's job requirements, the job availability. For instance, if a young person says, I'd like to be a doctor someday, and we're not able to provide that particular experience, we try to get something as close as possible to that. And of course, their skill level and career interest. Youth are offered up to 27 to 35 hours a week of meaningful work. Some of these opportunities might be an office aide, a camp assistant, a vet assistant, a media clerk, assembly worker, and a sales associate, and many, many more. Our young people are not just sent off to work. We provide support. It's an opportunity to build relationships with job coaches and the worksite supervisors. Each young person is assigned a job coach, and this job coach goes out and does site visits and checks in with the supervisor as well as the young person to make sure everything's okay. And we know that sometimes things are not okay, and that's where they also come in to assist our young people in succeeding. And then, of course, once that young person is out on the field, they get assigned a worksite supervisor who evaluates that young person's job performance and skill level. And just like the real world, you get a performance evaluation at the end of the program from that supervisor. With all the hard work our young people do throughout the 8 weeks of the program, we finish off the program with a recognition. It's a way of celebrating all of our young people's achievements, but as well as thanking our partners for hosting one of our young people. I mentioned financial education earlier, and financial education is one of the most important components of our program. As we know, young people, especially if this is their first job, may not necessarily understand what it's like to receive a check or what to do with their money or setting goals for it. So they participate in different financial workshops that benefit and covers direct deposit, budgeting, savings, investing. Yes, we try to start them early, as well as credit cards and debt. They learn about payroll and completing a timesheet. And they also create a financial goal for the summer, and that's where our job coaches also check in with them to see how they're doing with that financial goal. The other component is community involvement. So you ask yourself, how can I invest in the future of our young people in the city of Virginia Beach? Well, I'm going to tell you, there are a few ways that you can potentially get involved. One is maybe you can be a partner of SYEP by hosting a young person in a job that aligns with their career interests, if that's possible. If that's not possible, well, maybe you could donate the salary so that we could place a young person within a city agency. Or maybe donate towards the recognition ceremony that's held at the end of the program. And the best part is, no matter how you contribute, we do all the work for you. We do the interviewing, the hiring, the training, the placement, and of course, continue to provide support for the youth worker and that supervisor. The only thing our partners have to do besides hosting is provide meaningful work experiences for our young people, the salary, of course, and that worksite supervisor. If you're interested in being one of our partners, there are a few things that we ask our partners of. The first one is that the worksite has to be in Virginia Beach. We want to make sure our young people have easy access to the job. The employer has to commit to paying that youth the minimum rate that's provided by the program, provide productive and significant work assignments for them to develop reasonable, responsible work habits, basic job skills, and awareness of workplace expectations, and explore career interests. They have to be willing to offer at least 27 to 35 hours of work a week. And of course, complete and follow the requirements of the SYEP partnership agreement. I would like to show you the SYEP video, which was actually created by one of our youth workers placed in the Teen Media Studio. Are we able to show it?
I think we're having some difficulties with that. Apparently Nikita is playing the video, but Nikita cannot hear us. Which slide is your video on? Ms. Vasquez, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, which slide is your video? Which slide is the video on?
Oh,
Did you send it to her in a separate format? I think we've lost her.
Yeah, it looks like we have her on there, and the video was starting to show, but you couldn't hear anything. There was no sound to it, unfortunately.
Right. Let me see if I can at least play the video, and maybe that'll give her a chance to come back on. Yeah. So do you all see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Lavera, with Zoom, you have to indicate that you want to share your computer sound. See if there's a place where you can do that on WebEx.
Can you hear the video?
No.
All right, hold on one second.
Well, if we're having some technical difficulties, I can narrate the video and just share some of the key points and reiterate some of the points that Nikki made. I'm not certain if this is in the video, but one thing that I think is really important to remember, particularly for you, if you're wanting to help us and partner to help us with the future of our young people. We've been running this program for many years. And every year we do a survey. Last year we surveyed our supervisors, and 96% of them said that they would would hands down come back and hire a young person again. We often have young people who are extended. So it's an 8-week program, but after the 8 weeks, we have employers who say, you know, this kid was so great, or they were so beneficial that we would like to continue to have them work with us. And so that's always a benefit when we're able to offer a young person a position, either with the City of Virginia Beach or with a private organization. So last year we partnered with 10 different private organizations, everyone from Thai Board of Finance to Beach Ford. And we do try to find positions that meet the needs of our young people, whether it's location or job interest. And so if you are wanting to have this opportunity to work with the City of Virginia Beach, you can contact myself or Nikki or our program coordinator, Andrea Holloman, and I'll leave all of that contact information. We do ask that employers pay the minimum, and our minimum is $790, I believe. So now you don't have to stop there. I mean, like, feel free to offer them whatever you'd like to offer them, but we do ask that you at least pay that minimum. And we do have 2 different classes of workers. So we have what we call a youth worker 1. That's someone who has had pretty much no work experience. So maybe they've done some babysitting, maybe they've done some things in their community, but they don't have a lot of work experience. Then we have what we call our youth worker 2. Those are our kids who are coming back. This is a program for kids from 16 to 21, and we often have people who repeat. So they come in at 16 and we got to kick them out at 21 and say, hey, listen, you need to, you know, make some room for somebody else. But it's because the program just works so well. And it's really a great thing for a 16 or 17-year-old to be able to say, hey, I worked for the City of Virginia Beach, or I worked for Forbes Candy, or I worked for, you know, a hotel down at the oceanfront. And so it really has become a very good partnership for our young people, for our businesses, and for the city. So we just wanted to share that opportunity with you and give you the chance to come on board. As Nikki mentioned, if you don't have room for a person to actually be on your staff, but you might want to contribute, we do have folks who contribute financially, and then we will take that and use that to hire a young person somewhere else. So those are the options and the opportunities we just wanted to share with you today. And if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cowell, for that additional information. I was taking a lot of notes where the presentation was going, and you did answer that question about what the minimum rate payment is, $790, but of course, everyone is welcome to pay a little bit more. I would like to ask if anyone else has any questions before any additional comments.
Yes, I have a question.
Thank you.
About how many do nonprofits take advantage of this? Because a lot of nonprofits need help, and this would be a great way to introduce students to working in the nonprofit sector as well.
I totally agree with that. We would love to have kids working in the nonprofit sector and entrepreneurial type environments where they can maybe sharpen those skills. We haven't had a lot of participation from the nonprofit sector, which is kind of why we're here, because we want to make this program known. I feel that when people find out about the program and they see the benefits of the program for their own business, as well as how it benefits young people, then they are very eager to participate. And so whether it's nonprofit or government, everyone is welcome to participate. And if you hear something you like and you want to share the word with other nonprofits, please feel free.
I definitely will. How many kids did you employ last year? About how many hours did they work?
In 2020, we had to shut the program down because of COVID. And we went to a virtual platform. So it wasn't a real like employment program. It was really more like professional development, where we connected the kids with different options and opportunities to just grow professionally. The year before, we had 118 youth that we hired, and we are growing every year. So our plan is to grow to at least 200 within the next 5 years.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, one last question. Did you have participation from a lot of minority businesses taking youth on?
No,
Okay.
unfortunately not. Well, I take that back. No, we don't have them taking it on, but we have several minority businesses who contribute financially.
Okay.
And so again, just depending on what your personal staffing needs are, you might find that you don't necessarily need another employee, but you still see the value of helping us lay this foundation for our youth. And so you would like to contribute financially. And we have had several minority businesses that have done that.
Thank you.
And Kelvin, this is Rebecca. We actually in our office did participate in the program. I think we always have, but since I've been here, we've participated. Mitch Frazier has been wonderful in sort of being the supervisor and taking that on. But it's not only been good for us to have young people and that kind of excitement in the office, but they were exceptionally helpful. I mean, it was a help. We missed them when they were gone. So very reliable, very professional, fantastic experience.
Thank you for sharing
I have
that.
a quick question. I know there typically is an hour's minimum, but are there youth who, possibly don't necessarily want to work 20 to 25 hours, maybe they're in a 10 to 15 hour range? Are they still eligible for the program? Can they still be hired?
They can be hired. Are you thinking of a young person that you want to come through the program themselves, or as an employer? What the requirement?
As an employer, because yeah.
As an employer, we ask that you give them 27 hours, but if you have someone who's working with you and they say, I really can't quite do that, then you can, have that flexibility, but it couldn't be a situation where they're wanting 27 and you're saying, well, I can only give you 10.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hi, Tiffany.
Tiffany, are you sending us?
Go ahead.
I was just seeing if you were sending us the information about the program, if you can email that information out.
Yes. Would it be best for me to email it to one person who can send it out to the group?
Be best.
Okay.
Because I deal with a lot of nonprofits, so I was going to reach out to them.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Who should I send that to? Should I send it to Nikita?
Ms. Coel, you can send that to Nikita or myself, Lavera. I think you already have Nikita's information, so you can send that to Nikita. That'll be fine.
Okay, I will definitely do that.
You're welcome.
I'd like to ask if maybe this is something that we could share through our social media to invite businesses to consider supporting, or maybe even youth, some good hashtags that could be attractive for summer jobs.
Yes, you absolutely can share it with employers and with youth. Our youth application is going to open January 25th. So if you have a young person who wants to participate, that's when they can look for the application. And as Nikki said, it's just like becoming an employee of the city of Virginia Beach. And so we make them, be grown-ups and fill out an application and do an interview and get that experience under their belt. So that will be included in the information I send over.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much for the information. It was, I think, good timing and really, really good and encouraging to hear that this great program has been working well. So, and we can understand obviously about 2020, but you know what? Water under the bridge.
That's right.
2021. Thank you.
Hey,
thank you very much.
2021.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think we're ready to move on the agenda then.
Olga, can I ask one quick question to close that out?
Yes, Mr. Lewis.
Sorry. Tiffany, thanks for that information. What you learned in 20 based on COVID and having to kind of go to a developmental program, use virtual training and development for the youth. Will you continue that in 21? Is there a way to keep working leadership and job skills and entrepreneurship with these youth? Will you keep that up in 21? And then can we be helpful to you there?
Yes, that's part of the planning that we're doing now, is to see how we can implement that, especially for some of our younger and less experienced participants. So we have a couple of different scenarios that we're running through now to see exactly how that would play out. We've also had the benefit of working with cities across the country because we are hooked into some national organizations. And so we've had the opportunity to glean some information there and see what kind of best practices we can put in place for our young people moving forward. But the professional development aspect has always been a major part of what we do. That's why we have the job coaches, so that if you don't have to feel like I've got this 16 or 17-year-old and it's just me and him. We have job coaches that start with that 13-hour orientation and then meet with their young people on a very regular basis to make sure that they're enforcing those professional development skills that they've learned, and then also helping them navigate through the work world.
Thanks, Tiff.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so I think we can move on with the agenda then, Ms. Lavera.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. All right, so it's I'm up. Data collection and analysis. I have got a quick report. Thank you so much, Lavera, for helping me always be prepared to at least share information. So it looks like we're going to have the fiscal year 2020 annual report. It should be ready by the end of this month. And we need to also get on the agenda to present to City Council, which will probably be sometime in February. And there's still some work being done with the software implementer, as I understand it, to develop a more complete and accurate reporting. And also so that we can get some of those quarterly reports that we've been waiting. So I believe the wait will be worth it. Because then we will be able to have some reports that we really want to see. Thank you so all for being patient in waiting for this information. And I don't know at what point, Rebecca, you usually share something, so I don't want to steal your thunder. We also now have the policy committee, Mr. Arthur.
Well, good afternoon. Happy New Year to all. I don't have a formal report, and so I will defer to Ms. Rebecca if there's any key things regarding policy that she will then address in her staff report update. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so we've got other business, and yes, this is it, Miss Rebecca Lee.
Thank you. So actually you don't have anything because there's not that much to report. Not too many policies changing that are affecting us at this point. We're really trying to flesh out all those initiatives and things that we did pass from the and recommendations that we're working on from the disparity study. Yes, we still don't have the numbers from the quarterly reports. I am super excited at what they're going to be, but I was a little surprised at the lengthy process to get to them. I guess good and bad news is other people's reports are also taking some time. But we want to get them right. We don't want to do some guessing and get some numbers that don't tell us what we need to know. A couple things we are working on that I think it's interesting work for us. That I wanted to share with you is with this new system, we have the opportunity to do something called a punch out. So when our end users need to purchase something, that's something pretty typical that they purchase, like an office supply, we have a contract for that, right? And they go into the system and they just click on a shopping cart and they go out to the website and they put stuff in the cart and they hit submit and the system does everything. It's beautiful. And what we're seeing with that is the vendors that do have that contract with us, and we're going to put more and more in there and create sort of a mall. But those that have that with us, their contracts and our spend with them is skyrocketing, of course, right? Because it's easy. And it does all the paperwork for me, and which is wonderful from a compliance point of view. But we also want to make sure, and I remember speaking to Mr. Arthur about this in my interview when I interviewed, was these systems do that for us, and that's a beautiful thing. But what it can also do is push all of our money to these big corporations that and we don't want to allow the system to dictate how all of our money is being spent. And then I come to you and do a report and we're spending all of our money with 8 vendors. and they're big names, and we're not supporting our minority community, we're not supporting our small business community. So what we have done is taken a look at those. Right now we only have 3. We're taking a look at those very carefully, and there are contracts we currently have, but what we're doing is engaging small women, minority-owned businesses to do something called a partnership, a tier 1 partnership, where they partner with some of these companies who have this big backing. So for example, with Staples, we don't actually purchase from Staples. We purchase from a company called RGH Products. It's a minority-owned business out of Baltimore, which is a lot for the community. And they are giving back to the community, and they have a lot of job programs for their folks and housing programs for their people, so that we're not just giving money to this big corporation, the dollars are coming back into our communities through minority and women-owned businesses. One of the companies that is difficult, and one of the places to sort of do that is difficult, is in the construction, maintenance, repair, operations sort of supply area. Fastenal, for example, is a great partner with the city of Virginia Beach, but Fastenal is a big corporation. And so what we have done is we have engaged, with their help, a tier 1 partner out of New York State. Her name is Charlotte Hitchcock. She owns, and I want to get this right, Global Integrated Supply. An amazing company. They do business with the city of Chicago, with the city of New York, and now with the city of Virginia Beach. So in a month, we will no longer do business with Fastenal. We will do business with this woman-owned, minority-owned business who is registered as a DBE, registered as SWAM here in Virginia, fits all the criteria, but she can do the job for us. She just can't manage the logistics of this giant corporation kind of thing. And so we'll do business with her, and she partners with them on the back end to allow her to provide these bigger contracts. So we're not leaving those behind. So that's in the works, and they've given me an ETA of about a month to get her set up and going, which is fantastic. We do have Fastenal already in. What we saw, and Lavera and I looked at it, and I have the slide somewhere, but they're all numbers and you don't care. We were trending like this with Fastenal, and when we made them a punch out, we did this. I mean, it was 200 and something % increase in sales. And what we didn't want to do was say, oh, great, punch outs are working, but what's probably happened is we've probably taken that spend was happening somewhere anyway, right? And we don't want to take that from our local folks. And so we're engaging those businesses, and Lavera and I are working. Lavera, I have to give her applause. She's been working like crazy on a million things. She's my hero, but we have another opportunity where we are doing constant bids and just wearing out our vendor community on little piping and supply sort of contracts. Where we don't know what we're going to need. And Lavera has identified a company that she thinks may be able to do that. And work with a bigger supplier. And so what our hope is not only that we can get some of these going for us, but we can take these Virginia suppliers and our suppliers and get them and be the facilitator to hook these up into bigger contracts, so that they don't only get a contract with us, but that other cities and other places go, ooh, a tier 1 partner, and we can build some of our smaller businesses and our minority-owned businesses from Virginia out to the nation. Because once we get these done, people are like, who are you using? How are you doing that, right? And so we're working really hard to make sure that our system is working, but it's not just working for those giant corporations and for the ease and efficiency of a system where you click a button, but that it's actually working for us to engage our businesses and our local businesses and our minority businesses and the folks that look like us to say, hey, where's our piece of the pie? So there's a lot of work going into that right now, and I'm very optimistic that we will start to be able to ones that partner folks up and get some of our local businesses a piece of that pie. And I think for those jurisdictions and other places that get to hit the easy button, hit our easy button, help our businesses out. So we're working hard on that, and that's something that we kind of haven't published. And so I wanted you guys to know that that was in the works behind the scenes, to make sure that we're not just making, because I can make it super efficient. 8 corporations, moving on. But that's not what we want to do with our tax dollars. And that's not what our citizens want to do with our tax dollars. And I just wanted to explain kind of some of the work that's happening behind the scenes, because I think we'll see an increase in numbers because of that. But I want you to know what those numbers, where they're sort of coming from. So any questions from me on that? I know it's a little weird, but
Rebecca, this message sounds like a terrific way to help our businesses grow. How often do you talk to your peers about, these tier 1 partnerships, so that, over in Hampton, you're sharing with your counterpart over there, well, I've got this great company over here, use them, that kind of thing.
Well, we're a little lack of communication because of COVID, like everybody else. But I talk to my partners in honestly in Chesapeake and Norfolk a little more often, because I just have a closer relationship with them and folks at Old Dominion. But we talk on a national level almost every day. I was on the phone today with someone, but Norfolk. In fact, I actually, one of the first things I did when Miss Hitchcock, we had her signed up, was to send that information to Norfolk and say, here's the one you were asking me about. And we certainly, on some of these that I think have never partnered with tier 1 companies, once we get that out there, the companies will also help share that. But we share that at a national level to say, hey, this is what we're doing. Look what we're doing. Because the honest answer is, from a procurement standpoint, the city of Virginia Beach is doing really well. And a lot of people are looking to us in the procurement realm to say, how are you getting that done? What are you doing? And we want to make sure that our numbers are not just numbers, but are driven by things that we can be proud of. Yes, I want the number, but I want the story behind that number to be a success, where we are doing what we should be doing as a government entity and supporting the businesses, in particular those businesses that have, or maybe still do have, a barrier in place that has kept them traditionally from being able to get a piece of this pie.
Right.
And Kelvin or Olga and Rebecca, this is Lavere. If I can just add to that, we all thought by now we would be out of this COVID thing, and so what Rebecca and I also talked about is kind of co-hosting a procurement or contracts opportunity series or forum where we can get together with our colleagues in the other cities and talk about just these things, and then share more, because normally we'd be out more. And we, all the time we're out, but we haven't done that. So we're actually planning that, and it's going to be more of a co-host kind of thing, so that it's not a City of Virginia Beach event; it's the 7 cities event, and we all want to come together and kind of talk about these kind of things, and probably virtually. Well, it will be virtually, but virtually have people attend as well. Small business
cities procurement roundtable kind of thing.
That would be
Right. And we've got some other real advocates in my position in other cities that are really great at what they do, have a lot of experience with this stuff, and we want to help with that. And I think as a region, we all win when we can support our businesses, because then our businesses can support us. It really should be a partnership, not a transaction. That's a one-time kind of thing. And I think that's relatively new. A lot of our stuff has been transactional. Oh, look, I did business with Olga, yay me, gold star, moving on. As opposed to sort of building that partnership and saying, how can I help you as much as you help me? How can we support one another, particularly in these tough times, right? It's those partnerships that are gonna help these businesses, because the very businesses we're talking about have less capacity to absorb all of this COVID silliness and everything that goes with it, right? So, and we also are working, and I've sort of mentioned it to Lavere, but we actually at the national level, I'm pretty involved with our national organization. So every year, except for last year, 7,000 to 8,000 of our very closest friends meet somewhere in the United States or Canada to talk about what's going on and to have a very intense 5 to 6 days of nonstop discussion. And one of the new topics of discussion, which shouldn't be new, but it is, one of the new topics of discussion where people can actually get educated, get badges, get certified, is in how to participate in the SWAM and the inclusion and diversity when it comes to procurement and that strategy. And so we'll probably hit Lavera up to talk to some of our folks and show us what she's done. But it's a discussion that we are helping to push throughout. And it's a topic I think that some folks are scared to talk about because they're scared to open that can of worms in their city. We talked to one city in the region who shall remain nameless that said, we don't have that problem here and we don't want that problem. Factual? You don't want facts? Is that the problem? Like, I don't know what problem we're talking about. So it's just kind of, if we can open that up and help everybody in our region, everybody across the U.S., all the procurement folks, so that this becomes the norm,
yes,
then we're not always fighting to get ahead. It is what it is. And so in order to do that, I think we cannot fight this fight alone. So we are certainly, not only regionally, but on a national level, sort of pushing this out and saying, this is a topic that needs to be acted upon, not just talked about, not just reviewed, not just some numbers. Let's take some action. What are we doing to make this better for all of us? Because it's really our community. There is no they, it's us. And so that's sort of what we're kind of trying to work on from the background, is saying, numbers are great. We want you to have numbers. I live in the numbers. Council's going to live in the numbers. But what are we doing to make things better? The numbers will come from those good things that we do. I promised you, Kelvin. I promised. I'm still sitting here.
You killed it. What an excellent way to end that report. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for the support.
Of course. Now, I notice here on the agenda we have 2020 Census Subcommittee report. My apologies, Lavera. I should have noticed that and asked that we be moved from the agenda. There's really nothing to report at this point. I think we should take a look and see when the results come out. Usually they are here at the end of January, to see if there's any information that we can maybe share with the community, as opposed to a committee report in terms of our business, growth and, from the last 10 years and so on. So I think that would be interesting information to share. Again, just to continue to have that open communication in sharing through our social media, especially. We have also on the agenda the Minority Business Commission report with Mr. Ed Hopper and Damon Watson. Do you guys have anything for us today?
Absolutely.
I'll let Damon handle that one.
So the commission has been fully staffed. They have picked all members for both the Senate, the House, and for the civilian members. Most of the committee for the Senate and the House are from the Hampton Roads area. We have 2 civilians that are from the Hampton Roads area. We have Tiffany Boyle, and I believe the other person's name is Trina Coleman. So Tiffany Boyle is the person that actually started everything pretty much in transition to Callis to making the whole thing be formed. So I'm glad she's on it. Trina Coleman is a scientist and I believe a former Hampton University admin person there that started her own education consulting company. But then it seems to be some people from Northern Virginia area, one person from, I believe, Woodbridge, and another one from Fairfax, if I'm not mistaken. I believe another person that's on it is the economic development person from maybe Alexandria or Northern Virginia, somewhere up there. So it seems to be an eclectic group. I'm still very hands-on, and they still reach out to us about what we're doing. I guess that's why they try to get as many, Hampton Roads area people involved as possible. But of course, anything you guys want to talk about, let me know so I can bring it up to the powers that be. I guess is the best way to put it. They will start commencing on the 13th. So this Wednesday will be their first official day of activity. And they're appointed until June of 2022. So I'm very curious, I'm sure we all are, to see what they're going to do to make sure it is towards the right direction and what the commission was formed for. But they have picked all members. And like I said, I'm still myself and Ed still very highly involved in conversing with them. So I definitely want to make sure it's on the right track as the rest of us do as well.
Mr. Damon,
My pleasure.
for the legwork and for staying connected. And yeah, if anybody else has anything to share with Damon, obviously you're encouraged to do so. We are going to continue economic development. Do we have Mr. Jeff Smith or anyone from economic development with us today? Any announcements?
Madam Vice Chair, I do not see anyone from economic development on the call.
Okay, all right then. Liaison reports, city council members, council members Lois Joan or council member Aaron Rouse on the line with us?
No, ma'am, neither one are present today.
Okay, all right, thank you. Well, I think we do have one more report, our school board liaison, Dr. Lakeisha Parrott.
Happy New Year, Vice Chairwoman, and Happy New Year, fellow Minority Business Council members. And again, it's great to be with you in 2021. And just a few updates. One, prior to the holiday season, hopefully you received a green envelope, electronic invitation to hold the date for our school division's Black History program, which will be held on Saturday, February 6th. It's a virtual program due to our current conditions, a virtual program from 9 a.m. to noon. And it's going to be a great opportunity for us to highlight the rich history, particularly our Black history in the city of Virginia Beach. And we will showcase the first school for Blacks in Princess Anne County, now Virginia Beach, the city of Virginia Beach, Princess Anne County Training School and Union Kempsville High School. And so Councilman Aaron Rouse, I've been told, has agreed to serve as our keynote for our program on Saturday, February 6th. And we will have registration details probably very early next week that we will forward to the council for your review, and hopefully you can join us on that day. What was displayed on the screen, and thank you, thank you, Libera, for putting that on the screen. But I sent recently to Libera to share with you an opportunity that was shared with us in Virginia Beach City Public Schools by the An Achievable Dreams Academy. And so in Virginia Beach, in the school division, we have two schools that are part of the An Achievable Dream Academy, and that's our SeaTac Elementary School and Lynn Haven Middle School. And prior to winter break, we were shared this opportunity about a virtual keynote that you see here on the slide. Now is the time to disrupt racism. And after talking with the CEO and president of An Achievable Dreams Academies, Dr. Lee Vreeland, she shared this wasn't a result of a task force they have for the Achievable Dream Academies, but really it was a way to help the adults that work with students have the capacity that will be held, but it's open to all leaders, teachers, community members, those who want to be part of the solution and not part of the problem when it comes to racism that's evident in our schools, in our communities, in our workplaces. And so I was told I could share this with our network in the school division. So please feel free to check your calendars and share it with your networks as well, with your colleagues, with your friends that have a passion for being the change that we need to see in our schools and in our communities. So that's one opportunity. This virtual keynote will be held on Monday, February 1st from 3 to 4. You may wonder why it's in the middle of the day, but we wanted our teachers to have access. And in Virginia Beach, our teachers have an asynchronous learning day on Mondays. And so they may have opportunities during the middle of the day. So that's one opportunity I want to share with you. And yeah, I think those are both opportunities. Something that's in the works is that just like the city of Virginia Beach had their disparity study, we plan to do our own equity assessment, which is really a study of our school division as it relates to equitable outcomes and opportunities for our students. And we have selected a vendor, and I'm using your language. It's a small, minority-owned small business in our region in Chesapeake. And we look forward to moving forward with our own equity assessment of our school division. And I will definitely keep this council abreast on the steps in our journey. It's going to be a 7-month journey, so we plan to do a lot of heavy lifting in a short period of time. And so I'll definitely keep the council updated on that. So that's my report.
Thank you so much. I don't know if there are any questions. I'm supposed to give everyone a reminder to submit your volunteer form, and I was given the okay to invite you all to the Green Run Collegiate Foundation fundraising event, which is going to be a virtual wine tasting event on February 13th. So save the date. But before above all, I'm going to ask if we can send the invitation and the link so you can check it out and consider joining us. It's going to be a fun time, and it's the first time that Green Run Collegiate is doing something like this. It's a fundraiser for their students. There is a target goal in mind, and it's, the goal is always to help the students with some of the cost of registering for some of the exams that they have to take. And I think Miss Francis can share maybe a little bit more about that, because I'm fairly new, but I'm excited about this event. This is scheduled around Valentine's Day, and there is the virtual wine tasting there's going to be enough wine for 4 people. I'm just saying, don't be trying to do your wine tasting all by on your own. So it'll be a fun thing to share with maybe 2 other folks. So hopefully you guys will be encouraged to support. And there's opportunities for sponsorship. So if you know of anyone who might be interested in, becoming a sponsor, maybe they didn't spend enough money last year on sponsorships, Green Run Collegiate could use your help. Thank you. Is there anything else, Miss Livera?
No, Madam Vice Chair. You've done a great job.
Thank you. I believe this is a good dry run. No, I'm kidding. I believe her. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I think the best part about this is just letting everyone and, having everyone collaborate. So this is great. Happy New Year to everyone. This January is coming, to halfway through January. And I know we've got some other things coming down the pipes. I'm excited about, continuing to have our social media be active and sharing information. So we'll just be communicating with our, and we're going to get that access, right? So excellent. All right. So I believe it is 4:14. So if there is no other business, I'd like to close. I call this meeting to be adjourned.
All right.
I said it.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
New Year.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thanks,
Happy
Dr.
New Year.
Perry.
Thank you.